Coming in at number 10, we have Jenna's Justice. Jenna Jameson is a retired adult film star and glamour model turned writer and TV personality. She's been around for many years and has garnered quite a few fans, as I'm sure you can imagine. She's worth quite a lot of money and has the luxury of being able to employ a staff. It seems, however, a jilted former employee of Jameson's stole from her and hacked her social media. They hijacked her Instagram and other accounts and began deleting photos. She took to 4chan's B forum and asked for help tracking the person down. She explained that the man may have given her false ID when she hired him. She asked 4chan to go easy on her and not to ask her for nudes in exchange for help, which is fair, right? Sure enough, 4chan found him. They found his address, his driving license number, his social security number, and his credit score, all within an hour. Jenna rewarded the finders with sultry snaps. Of course she did. Good on you.
Coming in at number 9, we have the Death Valley Sailing Stones. This is a mystery that immediately had everyone thinking aliens or ghosts, or some people even thought that gnomes could be involved with this. If you don't know, Death Valley is famous for having rocks that seem to sail across the ground on their own. They will leave little trails behind to make it look like the rocks are moving on the ground like giant snails. And even though this was a mystery for years and years, we have gotten to the bottom of it thanks to science. During the winter, Death Valley will become so cold that ice will form underneath these massive rocks. When the sun rises in the morning, this ice will start to melt and become extremely slick. So now it's like the rock is sitting on a giant ice skateboard. Mix that with a little wind or flowing water and the rock will start to slide across the ground, leaving a snail trail like it has been pushed by a ghost. Coming in at number 8, we have the disappearance of Craig Williams. This one is pulled right from the Unsolved Mysteries TV show, and it's absolutely wild. Craig was out on vacation in Colorado. He was with his wife, and one day he decided to do a solo trip. I totally get this. I don't know if you have ever been traveling with someone, but sometimes it can be the most stressful thing that you have ever done together, so it makes sense that they wanted a little break from each other. Well, Craig went for a hike and then he never came back. A search was launched, but he could not be found. Years went by, the episode of Unsolved Mysteries aired, and then it was on reruns, and then Craig saw himself in an episode. Say what? Yeah, Craig saw himself in an episode and realized that he'd been missing but didn't even know. He contacted the people at the show and then he was reunited with his wife. Now, how did this man forget that he had a wife and a life before his mysterious hike? Well, here's what happened. While on his hike, he was attacked by two men who beat him so bad he lost his memory. Seeing himself on TV gave him a flashback and he was able to piece things back together. Coming at number 7, we have the Webdriver Torso. If you're a fan of internet mysteries, then you for sure have heard about this one, and you probably don't by the answer that was given out, but I'm putting it on this list all the same. The Webdriver Torso was a series of videos that started popping up on YouTube. They were extremely strange. They were just a white background and some squares that would pop up. They were usually red and blue, and in these videos there's also some noises. You could hear some beeping that almost sounded like a 1994 dial-up internet connection. The internet was going crazy about this one. People thought it could have been anything from aliens making a YouTube account to try and communicate with us, to some sort of mind control program that was let loose on the public to try and destroy society. Well, some people weren't satisfied with the conspiracy theories and they went digging. Eventually the whole thing was linked back to Big Bad Daddy Google. They had been putting up these videos, but why? They said it was just to test video quality. Is this true? Who knows, but maybe we should just leave this mystery at the status of solved. Coming in at number 6, we have the Bermuda Triangle. When I was a kid, this was considered one of the most mysterious places in the world. Every cartoon made it seem like no plane or boat could make it through this area without crashing into the ocean and vanishing in a way that made it seem like they never existed at all. Every time it happened, it would seem like some sort of mystery storm or alien influence kicked them off course and then sent the people on board to an early grave. And on top of all this, the wreckage from these crashes could very rarely be found. Well, it turns out that the Bermuda Triangle does not have more wreckage than any other place in the world, and it makes sense that there have been some ships that have gone down in the area because the area is huge and surrounded by 3 major land masses, so there would be a lot of boat and plane traffic. Also, the reason that the wreckage is so hard to find is from the rather strong current that comes from the Gulf. Coming in at number 5, we have the hit and run sleuths. This one isn't that strange of a mystery, but the way that it was solved was pretty crazy, so I had to throw it on this list. If you learn anything from the list we are making today, it's don't mess with Reddit. It would seem that Redditors are quick to use their hive mind abilities to track down whoever wronged someone and make them come to justice. This all started when Redditor Meatheaded wasn't going to let someone get away with a hit and run. They saw someone zoom by and smash into a car, and a piece of the car flew off. It was a headlight. But this headlight belonged to what kind of car? Well, this Redditor took a photo of the headlight and brought it to the Reddit page, "What is this thing?" And the hive mind started to work. It didn't take them long to crack the code. The Redditor took this information and brought it over to the victim, who gave it to the police. They were able to link that info to a Brome that was stolen and then track down the person who had stolen the car and committed a few crimes along the way. Coming in at number 4, we have Evil Teddy Ruxpin. Back in the day, there was a talking toy named Teddy Ruxpin. He was so cute and would say a bunch of things that were absolutely adorable, until a few people started reporting that a demonic voice was coming from the toy. What the hell? Why was this happening? Were a few people's toys exposed to a demonic force? No, this was actually just the batteries running low, and it would cause the voice to come out in this deep slow motion fashion. Coming in at number 3, we have Margot Freshwater's Breakouts. Here's a wild story. Margot Freshwater is one of the most notorious fugitives in American history. She was arrested and sentenced for murder, but while she was in jail, she was able to escape and head out on the run. While out in the wild, she murdered 2 more people and was on the run for years before she was caught again. She was sentenced again, but this time to a mental hospital where she would escape another time. Then it was seen that she was gone for good. Years of searching went out, but no one could find out where she was. And then she was found with a whole other identity, and she had a family whom she lied to about her past. Coming in at number 2, we have the alien flying rods. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these alien rods, but they were the center of a pretty intense alien conspiracy. There were rods of light that were videotaped in the sky. Some hardcore alien lovers were convinced that it must be aliens floating around. People were studying this phenomenon, and they thought that if they could get close enough, it would unlock the key to connecting with aliens. But it turns out that the whole thing was just moths. There were large moths that were floating around in the night sky in low light that would reflect off them, and then when you mix in a camera, you would get some slow motion blur, and it would end up looking like little glowing orbs floating through the air. Alright, and coming in at the number 1 spot, we have Shia LaBeouf's flag. Okay, if you ever thought you shouldn't mess around with Reddit, 4chan will come at you even faster, and really they just want to ruin your day for their own entertainment. They will troll you better than anyone has ever trolled before, and this is proof. Back in 2017, after the Trump election, Shia LaBeouf wanted to make a statement to bring people together. He did this through a live stream webcam in New York on the street that said, "He will not divide us." People on 4chan started trolling him, so he moved it to Albuquerque, and people started trolling it again. So he decided he would change it to a flag that was just on the top of a pole with the camera pointed to the sky so no one could find out where this flag was and mess with it. And 4chan started mapping out flight patterns in the background, wind directions, animal noises, and star patterns, and within one day they had taken down the flag and replaced it with Trump propaganda. And here's the thing, I don't even think these people are Trump supporters. They just love trolling.
Okay, starting off at number 10 now, we have Webdriver Torso. In 2013, a YouTube channel was created called Webdriver Torso. All it did was upload videos like this. Reddit users jumped on it. Theories range from the ridiculous, such as aliens, to the intriguing, such as spy communication. Eventually, a number of Reddit users came up with the answer to this whole mystery, including a blogger who made the most detailed description of it. It turns out that YouTube itself had set up the channel to test the quality of their videos. The actual content of the video is meaningless, hence the random sounds and visuals, but by comparing that video with the original file, YouTube can see how good their uploading system is for video quality. Google later confirmed that this was the case. Shame it's not aliens or spies though.
Coming in at number 9, who stood on the lettuce? 4chan will tell you. You know what? People messing with other people's food is actually really low. Call it a prank, call it what you want, but clearly if you do this kind of thing, you're a bit of a dick. Anyway, in 2012, an anonymous 4chan user uploaded an image of them standing in the serving trays of lettuce at Burger King with their shoes on. They wrote, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." Gross. Honestly, I think shoes on is possibly even grosser than barefoot. Discuss. What do you think? Like, feet are you know, feet, but shoes carry outside dirt, and what if a person had stepped in dog poop or something? Honestly, I certainly wouldn't want to eat at the Burger King that this is happening at, and I feel like the standard absolutely needs to be fired. How could this person even be found though? It kind of looks a bit like they're male from their shoe size and kind of clothing, but honestly, who can say? So, a possible male that works at a Burger King somewhere in the world. Turns out though, you can't mess with the mystery beasts at 4chan. The anonymous user had left the geotag in the image file that they uploaded, which meant that a smart reader was able to find out exactly where the image was posted within minutes. Mayfield Heights, Ohio. Minutes later, another user found the branch of the Burger King, 625 Mayfield Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44124. There was even a phone number. They wrote, "Enjoy getting fired, OP." Someone else contacted the news and another user contacted Burger King. Suffice to say, mystery solved. Idiot fired. Okay. Tell grandma here, but what does OP mean? I don't know. Coming in at number 8, we have the Chili's spitting waitress. This story actually involves a blend of Facebook and 4chan. Now it seems an angry server wrote on Facebook, "Next time you tip me $5 on a $138 bill, don't even bother coming in because I'll spit in your food and then in your face, you cheap bleep." It seems that 4chan user Jimmy Russell's discovered the woman's identity. Obviously it was her Facebook, so he knew her name, but after some sleuthing, he also found out what branch of Chili's she worked at. It seems that 4chan users branded together to contact her employer and link them to her post. So I feel like there are 2 lessons here. 1, do tip your server, but 2, servers, earn your tips. I guess with the kind of attitude that she was expressing on Facebook there, I'm not sure I would have tipped her at all. Sounds like maybe she was a bit mean. Coming into number 7, we have complex mathematics. I really like to try and exercise my brain by reading books every day because I like words more than numbers, although the great thing about numbers is that more people understand them worldwide than words. Mathematics is kind of a universal language, and I think that's pretty cool. So basically, there is a math puzzle that mathematicians have been trying to solve for the past 25 years. So the story here involves an anime series called The Melancholy of Haruhi Sazumaya. I'm really sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So stick with me here. A 4chan user wanted to know the best order to watch a non-linear anime series. They wanted to watch the 14 episodes in every possible order, wondering what the shortest string of episodes would be. Now, one anonymous poster figured out what they had to do, but they accidentally helped puzzle out an issue that mathematicians had been working on since 1993. Now, it's a problem called super permutations. Now, the permutations is the order of a set of numbers, which in this case in the anime was 1 through 14. A super permutation is a rearrangement of those numbers into every possible order that they will go in. When the 4chaners solved the puzzle of how to watch the anime, they also helped solve part of a wider puzzle, and mathematicians wanted to credit them for their work, only they didn't know how because it was 4chan and they were anonymous. Okay, so this is where my explanation needs to stop because actually it's pretty long and complicated, but if you are interested in this particular math puzzle, there is a link in the description box down below. Coming into number 6, we have how to make coupons. Honestly, I think I'd be pretty excited if I figured out how to make my own coupons that actually worked. I'm always searching for like Papa John's coupon codes and stuff like that. Coupons are like pretty magic. They get scanned at a till and you just get money off. Good. I never really thought about how they're made though. I never considered it too much, but it seems that actually then 22-year-old Lucas Henderson figured it all out. He figured out how to make a bunch of counterfeit coupon codes that actually work to get money off. His mistake here though was that he told the rest of 4chan about it. He even uploaded a 45-page tutorial of how to create these coupon codes, so yeah, the police were notified. He was arrested. I've mentioned Papa John's, and now all I want is pizza. Can we take like a mid-list pizza break? Good? Great. Alright, now we've all got pizza, except me. Coming in at number 5, we have the nasty cat lady. I'm gonna show you something that actually might upset you, but don't worry, it does have a happier ending. So a woman was caught on CCTV stopping to pet a cat. When she looks around, sees that there's no one around, and places the cat in a wheelie bin. Honestly, like, what an unforgivable monster. Who does that? More importantly, who is that? How will we ever find out? 4chan, friends, that's how. So the footage was posted by a man who found his cat Lola in a bin, and he saw the culprit on his personal CCTV outside his house. Idiot woman, she looked around the street to see if there were any people there, and she didn't notice the camera pointed right at her. Now the guy I posted it to YouTube, somebody else uploaded it to 4chan's B-board to help find the culprit. Within hours, she was outed as 45-year-old Mary Bale of Coventry. The 4chaners even found her name, address, Facebook, and employers. Okay, this actually isn't a 4chan solved mystery up next because they don't use it in China, but I kinda guess this is the Chinese equivalent and it's relevant. Next up, we have the identity of a kitten stamper at number 4. This is actually truly awful, honestly disgusting. In 2006 in China, a woman was photographed stamping on a kitten whilst wearing stiletto heels. The gruesome images were posted on a 4chan style website, after which the police were notified. After that, there was a media frenzy and the website received a lot of hits. Luckily, the many eagle eyes and amateur sleuths of the internet were able to identify the location the pictures were taken in. The stretch of water in the background was found to be Hangzhou, which narrowed the search. Eventually, the woman was found to be Wang Ju, a nurse who claimed she was depressed. Ooh, coming in at number 3, we have the murder of LYNN COPLIN. I mean, if you're sick enough to murder an innocent human, then I guess you're sick enough to post about it on the internet, so why am I shocked? I don't know. Anyway, on November 4th, 2014, a 4chan user submitted photographs of a dead woman with an online confession. It seems that he was also taunting police. He wrote, "Check the news, support Orchard, Washington in a few hours. Her son will be home soon. He'll find her, then he'll call the cops." Some 4chaners thought it was fake and even joked about it until, sure enough, a woman matching the images posted was found dead in Kitsap County, Washington, and it was reported on the news. Quickly, police were notified to the 4chan post. Luckily, they had enough evidence to find the culprit, who was David Cal. Side note though, in jail he also tried to kill someone, so he just basically sounds like a bad man. I'm glad he's behind bars. The sicko. Okay, this one actually has never been solved and it is utterly horrendous. We have the infamous 4chan serial killer at number 2. An anonymous user posted on the site in the mid-2010s claiming to be a serial killer and to have murdered several women. The poster wanted to play a sick guessing game, saying that they would post more pictures of dead girls if users could guess the previous girls' names. Is this? They then posted a picture of a woman who is identified as Shauna Maynard. They posted pictures of her both alive and dead, and lo and behold, she had been missing since 1998. After several posts of their other supposed victims alive and dead, the FBI were contacted. However, the killer has still not yet been found. People of the internet are still poring over the images to try and identify who the other women are. Some people are saying it's a hoax, but honestly, with awful posts on 4chan turning out to be true, it's a mystery that absolutely needs to be solved. Finally, coming into number 1, a bit lighter but also extremely mysterious, we have CICADA 3301. CICADA 3301 is a name given to a mysterious organization that has posted puzzles on 4chan to recruit highly intelligent code breakers. On January the 4th, 2012, 2013, and 2014, codes and clues to a wider puzzle were posted on the 4chan site. The puzzle has been hailed as the most elaborate and mysterious of the internet age. It seems that crypto security researcher Joel Erickson solved the first challenge using steganography and an understanding of ancient Mayan numerology. That was a mouthful and also extremely niche. Erickson said that he would receive anonymous phone calls and strange GPS coordinates as he went on solving the puzzles. Unfortunately, he didn't solve the mysteries in time, so he still never found out who or what CICADA is. A lot of people presume that it's the CIA or MI6. Erickson even thinks that some people did solve the mystery and are now out there, bound to secrecy.
Coming in at number 10, we have CICADA 3301. If we were to spend this video looking at the mysteries of the internet, it would literally never end. Internet mysteries pop up faster than we can whack them down, and CICADA 3301 is one of the biggest ones out there. It's essentially a puzzle that anyone out there can try and solve, and people are actually encouraged to solve. It has a lot to do with data security, so being able to crack the code would require some serious hacking skills. But this has been a massive puzzle that has been sitting out on the internet since 2012. And thanks to the hive mind of Reddit, several people have been able to make it to the end of this puzzle, and if you yourself want to try and crack the code, you can use some of the links that are on Reddit to help you get through your journey. As crazy as the Reddit community can seem at times, it's actually one of the most helpful that you can come across. Everyone has been able to solve some small problem with the step-by-step help of a Reddit forum. Now, the mysteries still stands as to who made this thing. Some people think that it could be a recruitment tool created by the CIA to try and draw people in. So if you make it to the end of this problem, maybe you get a job out of it.
Next up at number 9 now, we have the post-it notes. In 2015, Reddit user R.Bradbury1920 posted to Reddit saying that he kept finding post-it notes in his apartment reminding him to do errands that he had told nobody else about. He was seriously freaked out but found no signs of a break-in. It kept happening though, so he asked Reddit to help him solve it. Reddit user Kakalak made the suggestion that perhaps he was the one leaving the notes and just not remembering. He suggested it could be mental health, but also it could be a carbon monoxide leak. This odorless gas can have serious effects on people's brains and will cause death if levels are high enough. He replied by saying that he was having pretty bad headaches and that he'd set up his carbon monoxide detector right away. It was a good job he did that because that was the problem. The level had reached a dangerous 100 ppm, causing him to black out and forget that he wrote the post-it notes. Mystery solved, but even more importantly I think, a life saved. Coming at number 8 now, we have the nail through the wood. One day a Reddit user posted this image to Reddit. That's a nail going through a piece of wood, but how did it get there? As you can see, there is no hole on the piece on the left. How did the nail end up going through the other pieces? The user who posted it said he found it on a hiking trip. He said there was no visual trickery involved and the wood was just one solid block, no glue. Reddit was stumped. Nobody could figure out how it was achieved. And then, on November 21st, 2009, woodworker Steve Ramsey uploaded a video to show the solution. He made the block, soaked the end piece in boiling water, and then used a clamp to push it down enough so that he could nail a hole into the next block. Then he simply soaked it again to make it take its original form. Incredibly simple and very impressive work by him. The video is currently sitting at over 20 million views. Alright, this next one is really freaky and I would hate it if it happened to me. Moving on to number 7 now, we have the SIM card. In 2013, Reddit user ShadyBusiness15 posted pictures to Reddit showing his extension cord which had blown a fuse. Now when he took it apart, he found a SIM card with a serial number on it. What? Yeah, I would freak out too. Reddit users realized there was actually a microphone attached to the device. He was being bugged. Every time someone rang that SIM card's number, it was then listening to the whole room. He called the number on the SIM card and an automated message said, "The service is now closed. If you have voicemail, you can turn it on." He then called O2, the SIM card's manufacturer, who told him that he'd need a warrant to find out who owned that number. Well, the mystery was solved of what exactly the device was. Now they just need to figure out who put it there. Next up at number 6 now, we have Hit and Run. In 2013, Reddit user Meathead posted an image of a broken tail light from a car that had been involved in a hit and run. He wanted to identify who the driver was. Not much to go on, really, with just a tiny bit of a tail light. 400 Reddit comments poured in and eventually they identified the tail light belonged to a grey 1991 Cadillac Braun. He went to the police with that information and they were able to match it to a stolen vehicle. With this lead, they found the hit and run driver and then laid charges on him, or her. I don't know. Maybe Reddit can figure out the gender from the tail light too. Alright, at number 5 now, we have the Cypher. In 2012, a Reddit user posted saying that a homeless man had given him $50 with markings on it and a note covered in some sort of strange code. Redditors quickly identified it as a bifid cipher, a message scrambled using a square grid system. They decoded it to read, "There's plenty more money to make, figure this out, and prepare to meet." Very spooky and cryptic. It also gave the address of a hot dog stand and told him to go there and ask for Mr. Input. And then he got another message threatening him because he tried to get Reddit to help him. Soon after, the original poster deleted his initial post after claiming he was now getting death threats and his family were too. The Reddit hunt continued though, and the theories for this now range from recruitment for the Department of Defense to some sort of elaborate marketing campaign for a local spy museum. Some people say this is solved, while others say that's exactly what Mr. Input wants you to think. Next up at number 4 now, we have the Strongsville Jane Doe. In 1975, 3 boys found a skeleton by a river in Ohio. It was identified as belonging to an 18 to 25-year-old woman who had been shot in the head some 5 months before her discovery. Detectives hit a dead end on identifying who she was, and it just became another cold case. Fast forward to 2015, where Reddit user Call Me Ice decided to do some digging on the case herself. She managed to obtain the original autopsy report, including a photo of the woman's skull. She then enlisted the help of a forensic scientist to create this facial reconstruction. A while later, they found this image of a 17-year-old Linda Pagano who went missing in September 1974 after an argument with her stepfather. They contacted the medical examiner's office, who say they were already working on that exact match. Shortly after, Linda's sister confirmed that the skeleton did belong to Linda. The Reddit community praised user Call Me Ice for her incredible initiative and detective work. Moving on to number 3 now, we have Stonehenge. In 2011, Reddit users noticed that someone had created a strange subreddit with a long string of numbers and letters and was just dumping weird code into it. Thousands of Redditors tried to figure out what this code all meant. Eventually, one Reddit user called Fraglet decided to put his programming skills to good use. He decoded one of the posts to reveal it was actually a picture of Stonehenge drawn in ASC2 art. Other posts were decoded to read things like Happy New Year 2001 and also what looked like coordinates in North Korea. Eventually, the whole subreddit was just closed. Most of the code was never even decoded. On the one hand, it was a victory to even uncode just some of it, but many users still want to figure out what the whole thing was about. Coming in at number 2 now, we have Grateful Doe. In 1995, a hitchhiker was killed in a car accident in Virginia. Because of his injuries, police were unable to identify who he was. They found a note on his body referring to him as Jason from 2 women called Caroline T and Caroline O. The police were completely lost on this one. Almost 20 years went by and nobody had solved the mystery. Then, in 2014, Reddit user Zombie Gray, real name Layla Betts, began to research the cold case herself. A whole community sprung up on Reddit to help her. She posted digitally recreated pictures of the hitchhiker. Then she was contacted by a man who said the images looked a lot like his roommate Jason Callahan, who he hadn't seen since 1995. That's when they realized they were onto something. Incredibly, Jason's mother saw these pictures online at the same time. They were able to contact the Virginia Medical Examiner's Office to do a DNA comparison between the hitchhiker and Jason's mother. Sure enough, it was a match. Layla Betts, with the help of the larger Reddit community, had solved a 20-year-old cold case and brought closure to Jason's family. And finally at number 1 now, we have the box of crazy. In 2013, Reddit user TramStopDan posted images of a box that he found in the trash. What he found inside was this weird collection of posters, illustrations, maps, and personal belongings. Some of the text and pictures made references to alien invasions and trains with animal faces. The pages were so intricately detailed. This was obviously done by someone who took the work very seriously. Eventually, Reddit's investigation led them to a man named Daniel Christensen, a Danish immigrant to the US who has since died. They found out that Daniel had become obsessed with the book of Ezekiel from the Bible. Couple that with his apparent schizophrenia, and the book appears to be his belief in the Bible as proof of aliens visiting Earth. The case was then closed as solved. However, for the people who said this was a government cover-up the whole time, this only added fuel to the fire. What do you guys think of this one?